This video is sponsored by Squarespace. I have a vision for a giant fruit bowl that is covered with glaze speckles, like a rainbow of speckles. And I know it's a little bit early, but I think that this would be a really great Christmas present for my mom, who loves color and loves fruit. If you've seen my videos before, you know that I'm not super competent at throwing large things. So I'm starting with 3 kilograms here. Let's see how I can do. I'm gonna try and throw it as large as I can, but I can't go over 40 centimeters, which is about the width of my splash pan here, because that's the width of my kiln. Pray for me as I try to center this. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Bowls are hard. I don't know why. And I never do them because I find them hard. My strategy for this one is to keep it as vertical as possible as I'm pulling it up, and then I'll open it up later because I'm mostly worried about floppage. The inside's not pretty. I think that's pretty good. It is sinking a little bit, but it's not sinking irregularly. And I think I can just trim that nice and round again. What I am proud about is that it is perfectly even. Like, yeah, I mean, it's as close as I care to get. I think I'm happy with this. I think it's big enough for a fruit bowl. It's 34 centimeters, which will be like around 32 centimeters done, or maybe between 30 and 32 centimeters done, which is enough for a fruit bowl. That's a foot. Foot is enough, I think. The one thing that I'm annoyed with myself about is, why did I not throw this on a bat? How am I gonna get this off? I might hit it with a heat gun before I try and remove it. So we're in the kiln room now. I popped this guy in front of the fan with the hopes to prevent any more flopping. Actually, I don't even think it's flopping. I think I just threw it a little bit too low. So you can see the shape is it's a little bit too like, blah. I'd rather this be smoother here. But we're in this room for a reason. That is to prepare the glaze speckles. So firstly, I need to decide on my colors. So my problem is my swatches. I don't have a good system for my swatches. That's what this back wall is meant for when I get around to it. But I think I have most of my colors here. So what I definitely want is red, and then we want yellow, and we want blue. And then what else do we want? Like, my issue is that I don't use a lot of color. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a white background just to make it like really confetti looking. Do we want to add some black in? Like, that might be kind of cool. And I have like all these different shades. Like, I have a lighter yellow, but I feel like that's just gonna get lost. I should add pink, shouldn't I? And this lighter blue. So imagine them all in speckle form. So what I need to do is dry out the glazes so I can pulverize them. So I've got these little lids here. That's just from, I've got like these little jars that I use for samples. I just need something flat that will contain the glaze. And so I'm just gonna pour a little bit of glaze into each of these and then let them dry out. And then I'm going to pulverize them. That's the blue. Now I just have to do the rest of them. The thing that takes the longest is the mixing, for sure. going to let these dry out now. I'm hoping it doesn't take longer than a week. And once again, I should have prepared and put these on this because I don't want to sacrifice my table this entire week. Not a drip was dropped. Oh, except now. Let's take a little break to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you've never heard about Squarespace before, they're an all-in-one website that artists and entrepreneurs use to stand out online. I've personally been using them ever since I started my online business, and I'm still using them for my website today. There are a few things that I love about Squarespace, one of which is their memberships, which I use to host our very own template club, but you can also use to create community, host courses, and other premium content. Two, they just launched this really cool feature called Design Intelligence that empowers anyone to build a beautiful, bespoke website tailored to your unique needs. And three, once you have your online store set up, you have access to Squarespace Payments, which is super easy to set up and gives your customers more ways to pay with popular payment methods like Klarna, Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay. So if you're ready to take selling your pottery to the next level, or you're just looking for an online home for your art, I really recommend Squarespace because they make creating a beautiful website really easy. So head to squarespace.com right now for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/potterytothepeople for 10% off your very first website or domain. Now let's get back to the video. Look at this funny little thing. It's so weird how it dried. So they've been drying out for about a week, and I think they're pretty much dry enough. Now I'm going to try to crush them up into the speckles shape. So, nice. Okay, so the trick here is going to be crushing them so that they're small and like speckle shape, but not too small. I don't want to make too much like powder. You know, I should be wearing my respirator. So anytime you're working with dried materials, especially glaze, you don't want to breathe in. Like this is, I'm basically making dust here right now. So you really don't want to breathe it in. Okay. Okay. The next step, I kind of messed up. What I should have done is made little bowls like this, bisqued them, and then I could use these to fire them in the kiln because we are going to fire the speckles to make them more speckly and less powdery. But my solution here is I have some cookies that I have just, you know, in the kiln room. And what I can do is I'll just make a little pile of the glaze on my cookies, and I'll fire them that way. And I don't have enough cookies for each one to get their own, so they're gonna have to share. Something like that. There's definitely some pieces that are too chunky, but I don't wanna make too much powder, so it's gonna have to do. So just like this, you can, of course, just sprinkle it like it is on the pot. I don't want to do that because I believe that that's just going to let a lot of powder onto the pot. I really want to isolate those speckles. And so by biscuiting them, I can sift out all of the powder and just leave like the chunky chunks. So we're just going to repeat that for the rest of these pots. Next, I'm going to pop these into the kiln. No cracks. Ooh, interesting. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I did have nightmares of programming my kiln wrong and then just ending up with pools of glaze. But this is quite funny. Pink looks pretty. Well, maybe I can peel some of these off. So I'm just gonna give this guy a coating of white glaze first. And then I'm going to show you how I add the speckles. So I have a plan for what I'm doing. I've only done this once before. And what I'm wondering right now is if I need to sieve these. Do I combine them all? No. Decisions. Let me just see what we've got here. Oh, we do have still quite a bit of dust. Okay, so that means that I definitely need to sieve them. What I'm trying to avoid is having to sieve them all individually because that's annoying. Shall I just combine them? I think I'm just gonna combine them because why the hell not? I'll link this sieve down below because people always ask me about it. It is very, very handy because it has all these different mesh sizes. And I think I'm gonna go for this mesh because, yeah. Feels right. It's about 1 millimeter, this mesh size. So my plan is to just basically sieve out the powder. I'm just gonna sieve these with the intention to get out all of the dust because the dust, like the powdery stuff, that's just going to make it the glaze. Like it's not going to make these spots. We want these like thicker, chunkier bits to make the spots. So I'm gonna wear this guy one more time. Oh. Oh my god, they're flying. all of the powder. This I'm just gonna throw in my glaze recycling bin, and it will eventually get recycled back into glaze, but for now, we're just gonna work with these guys. And I couldn't really get these, like I got a few of the pink pieces off, but they're pretty dang stuck. And this is just a different type of glaze than I'm used to working with. This is Bott's paint on glazes, and I could have just fired them at a lower temperature. So we are left with these guys, and I think I'm gonna pass them through the largest mesh size because I think some of these are a little bit too big. I might throw a few of the big ones in there in the end, but what I really want are these small ones. By the way, I'm ventilating the studio right now. Like, I've taken off my mask and I was just sifting this not too long ago. Make sure if you're going to take off your mask and you were recently working with glaze powder, you need to open up your windows and vent out the room a little bit because the glaze powder will linger in the air, and yeah, you don't want to breathe that stuff in. I'm now going to use the largest mesh size because I just want to sift up the big ones. So we want the glaze speckles that fits between these two mesh sizes. Okay, so we got big speckles, little speckles. Now we gotta stick them to this bowl here. And the reason that I wanted to make a very wide, flattish shape is because this is going to work way better with such a shape. So glaze sticks better when the piece is wet. So ideally, as soon as you dunk this piece or pour glaze over it, you sprinkle your glaze speckles on it immediately. I knew that wasn't gonna be possible for such a large piece. So my plan is to just soak it with this guy and hopefully things stick to it. And bisque absorbs a lot of water, so it might take a good amount of water, and then I can't move it because it's gonna be saturated. Yeah, okay, so. See how it's sort of sticking but sort of not? Sticks when it's saturated. What I really don't have a grasp for is like how much to put on, honestly. Trying to get them like really nicely distributed, and so it's not looking like I'm putting them in chunks, which I sort of am putting them in chunks. And I don't want to add too much so you don't see the white. I want it to be like a proper confetti. Oh, that's too much. Oh, that was too much. I'm worried to add too much because I know they look small right now, but like they're gonna bleh. So do I stop or do I add a few big boys? I'm gonna try and add a few big boys, just a handful. Fill in the gaps with some big boys. So I think that's all I'm gonna do. I'm a little scared. Could be a disaster. Look at this beautiful, kooky, primary goddess. She is just beautiful. It's better than I expected. What's really cool is you can feel all the texture. It's not sharp or anything, it's just like bumpy. It's just like bloop, 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 bloop. Bubbly. You can feel all of the glaze bumps. That is so cool. This reminds me of like childhood somehow. I think it's the primary colors. I think this is so cool. This just gives me like so many ideas for future projects. Like, who can say no to something like this? Very elegant, minimal backside, and then bam. It's so cool. I'm so excited to send this to my mom. This is gonna be a really great Christmas present. I have to wait a few months still, but yeah. Well, I hope that you learned something today. I hope that this video was helpful for you. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, friends.